What got you started into the world of the coaching arena? What would you say was like the toughest part for you? What did you do to overcome those obstacles?
One time, how do you run two businesses? How do you put all this energy into learning something new while still running something else?
All right, welcome to the UnstoppablePreneur Show. I'm excited to have Alisha on today. And Alisha, so tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, what you're passionate about, and we'll dive into some epic content today.
Awesome. Well, I am Alicia. I currently live in Miami, Florida, but this is my fifth state. So I've lived all over the country. I have two businesses. I'm a therapist, LCSW. I have a private practice that I run solely online and have been doing that since about 2019. And I just in June will be 1 year, started my coaching business, and I'm really passionate about working specifically with women 20s to 40s, just really envisioning how we can level up, embrace our worth, use our voices, and feel really confident stepping out into the vision that maybe we don't even know we have, but sort of how to build that and make it a reality. And I have like a number of different offerings within my coaching world.
That's awesome. So what got you started into the world of the coaching arena?
So I think therapy and coaching lend themselves to each other. Some will disagree. Some therapists will be like, oh, coaching is a bad word, but I think that there is a place for both. They are not the same thing, and there should be a delineation. But with therapy, there's a lot of rules and regulations, which are important, but it also is restricting. So, I have to have license in certain states. And in my degree, I have to live certain places to do certain things, et cetera, insurance, all of that. And I was getting a little burnt out on how limiting it felt, where I wanted to maybe reach more folks or even get to be a bit more creative. There's also a lot of rules about sharing things about yourself, all the things which I respect and think are so important in that arena. But coaching seemed like a natural transition where I could take the things I really know and offer that to the coaching world while also learning new things and reach a wider audience, get to be more creative, get to dive in with different individuals who, space and country and state don't matter. And I was just ready for something new as well. I think when you get comfortable, you start growing, and I wasn't ready to stop growing. And I feel like I'd kind of hit my max in that arena, and I was ready to look for something different, and coaching presented itself.
So when you were in that transition phase, what would you say was like the toughest part for you? Or was there any, I'm sure there were obstacles, right?
Yeah,
Like,
no, definitely.
yeah, can you go into that? Some of like the resistance that you had and how has it been since transitioning? Like, has it been up, down, like really great? Has it been like, oh, that really sucks? Like, I'd love to know a little bit more.
Yeah. So I'm still actively have my therapy practice because it is my main source of income and what I didn't want to totally abandon it. So that continues to be parallel with what I'm doing on the coaching side. But the biggest challenges I think are one, time. How do you run two businesses? How do you put all this energy into learning something new while still running something else? And the other was trying something new and being a beginner at something again for the first time in a really long time. I've been practicing therapy since 2009. So I know how to do that. I know how to do a therapy session in my sleep. I know my clients. I know who I am as a therapist. I also am a bit of a perfectionist, and I find it hard to learn in front of people sometimes. And so I'm in this, I was in a year-long course for therapists who want to coach, and in a business course as well. And so the obstacles have been becoming a student again in certain ways and having to start sort of in that unlearning process of what I knew in this world isn't necessarily here. The business piece, they don't teach you in social work school. I didn't do like an MBA. I got very fortunate that how I grew my therapy practice didn't take a lot of marketing. It didn't take a lot of extra. It just kind of organically happened. And so that's been another obstacle in this space of what is this world of SEO and algorithms and social media and email lists, stuff that I've never, like, I know what it is as a consumer, but I've never been on the other side of that. And so there's been a huge learning curve of what that even means or looks like. still in it, but embracing it with a smile. But there was a lot of tension where, am I good enough for this? Can I do this? Who do I think I am? This is too much. Why am I making my life hard? So I think that was sort of the dialogue I've had to continue to combat, where it's been totally worth it. And I feel much more confident now than I did a year ago. But the mountain felt very daunting when I first started into this space and like was looking at it, and I was like, oh shit, I took on way more than this is bigger than I thought it was gonna be.
What do you do to overcome those, like those feelings of, man, I'm not enough, there's a lot here, I have to learn all this stuff. Like,
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about what did you do to overcome those obstacles in someone else trying to transition? Like, what would you suggest to them if they are, kind of working their job, but they want to become an entrepreneur? What kind of advice would you give them?
The first thing I think was really helpful to realize and embrace is I don't and shouldn't do this alone. I don't need to go figure it all out myself, because there's lots of other folks who are before me, have come before me and are ahead of me and can help me out, right? So who do I know? Let me tap into my resources and use those well, so that I'm not like just Googling and starting over, when that's such a waste of time. It's very, very
So
overwhelming
finding the
and
who, not the how,
yes.
and
And
getting coached.
and admitting I don't know, then that's
That's
okay,
awesome.
right?
Yeah.
And then I think the other piece is just challenging a lot of that negative self-talk, right? I actually do know a lot. I'm not dumb. I have a whole nother business I run, so I can do this too. It's worth it, but I also had to be really invested in what I wanted and why I wanted it. If I'm not invested in that end game, then no, it doesn't feel worth my time, or it does feel too hard. And making it a priority, I think, would be another thing, like really making time in your schedule, putting on the list. Maybe you have to work some weekends, maybe you have to do some stuff at nights. You can still hold good work-life boundaries, but in the beginning, maybe it is a little bit more, but understanding the why and how that will be very useful later on, and in theory should lessen the more
Yeah.
into the process that you get.
And what would you say is your big driving why right now? Like, let's say a year out, like, what's the big vision? What do you want to see happen? Even just, a year from today, that would just be freaking amazing to you.
I want the like financial and time freedom. I was really kept out on like button seat, a client in front of me means money. I can only do so many of that, holding and feelings, like the nature of my work. I can only do so
Yeah.
many of those and literal hours. But my husband is about to retire from 20 years of service in the Coast Guard.
Oh,
And
wow.
so we're young, and he's going to open his own practice, his own LLC, to do some things in the private sector. But we're basically like, we get to do what we want. So in 1 year, I want us to, if we want to go to Italy for 6 months and like work from there and live there, I want to do that. If we want to do X, Y, or Z, or take this trip, or spend time with family, or whatever else, I want to be able to do that comfortably. And we're in this really unique season that not a lot of people get to be at our age. I feel very fortunate for it, and I want to really capitalize on it. So that's really my why. So I'm not going to be retired like him, but that I can also be in a much more comfortable, free space with my time and money to enjoy other things as well, and not just work all the
That's
time.
beautiful. I love that. Yeah, and I can relate. I was a massage therapist
Ah,
and
yes,
was
so you
stuck in the
know.
grind. So
Yep.
definitely, yes, wanted that time freedom and that ability to just do kind of what you want. And
Hmm.
that journey is so fun, but in the middle of it, it can be very daunting, and it can
Yes.
feel overwhelming. It can feel crushing. It can feel all those things. But I love seeing someone who, like you, has triumphed and is in the thick of it,
Yeah.
yet like going out and sharing your message and helping women and changing lives. So that's awesome. So if you had one piece of advice as we wrap this up, like what would be the number one thing out of all the things that you've learned, even in your normal practice? Let's say you had an audience of 1 million people and they're like, okay, Alisha, you have 30 seconds. What is the most important thing that you could share to these 1 million people right now? Go.
I would say always bet on yourself, and vision is super important. You're the author of your story. You need to be the one writing it. Don't give that power away to anyone else, and believe that you already know. You just have to believe it and step into it. and like get the pen out and start writing. And if you're not going to do it, nobody else is. And what a sad legacy if there's nothing written down at the end of it, right? So I think those are some important just truths and visuals to maybe hang on to and to really give you that push to step out and do
That's
what you want to do.
Way to go. Sweet. I love it. So let's say somebody wants to follow you or learn more about what you do. What's the best way that they can do that?
So I have an Instagram. That's probably the one I'm active on the most often. It's Alisha, ALISHA .Bowker, BOWKER .Mudrock, MUDROCK. I also have a website, Alisha-Bowker .mykajabi.com, but you can get to all of that through my Instagram. I have some exciting things coming up this summer. I'm reopening up I have a book club called Empower Her, Book Club Reimagined. We're opening up for our second half starting in July, and there will be a dual 5-week course that a colleague and I are putting together to hopefully launch in the fall, in addition to all the other fun ideas that I have that, get thrown on the Instagram and the website along the way. But definitely follow to hear about these things and just some weekly messages and insights to keep you going as well.
Boom. All right. There you have it. Well, thanks so much, Alisha. And thanks everybody for listening today. Go out and create what you want and be unstoppable.
Bye.
Hey, what's up? If you want to get access to learn the full process of how to change at a cellular level, click the link in the description. I actually have created a way for you to get access to the Unstoppablepreneur School for free so that you can check it out on a trial so you can experience these changes for yourself. So if you want to learn more, if you want to dive deeper, if you want to go through some of the coolest processes on the planet and the fastest hacks, click the link in the description and we'll see you on the other side. Was it me? No, it was each and every one of you. So we all chose to do that. No one forced you. No one made you. You chose, which is freaking awesome.